Hello, my beautiful Libras. What if I told you that a financial breakthrough is already in motion, and not because you stumbled into luck, but because you aligned your spirit with divine timing? Today's video is not just another horoscope. It's a sacred message crafted for you, a Libra soul who's been craving more than just stability, but true financial freedom. A moment is approaching that could shift your financial path in the most unexpected and liberating way, and it's closer than you think. Now, I know you're not here by accident. When Venus, your ruling planet, merges with Mercury in your second house of money, personal worth, and inner resources, it's more than astrology. It's a cosmic invitation. This energy opens the vault of potential you've been quietly preparing for, even when you thought the world wasn't watching. Libras, you've always had a sense for timing, harmony, and beauty. But what's coming now isn't just about aesthetics. It's about real value. It's about the moment when something shifts, not because you chased it, but because you finally stopped doubting that you're worthy of it. And maybe you've been working hard, managing responsibilities, showing up for others, yet wondering when it's your turn. Well, let me be the one to tell you, your turn is now. The unexpected isn't chaotic. Sometimes it's the divine finally clearing space for what belongs to you. There's a person, an opportunity, or a realization that's already en route to you, something or someone that holds the key to a higher form of prosperity. And in today's reading, I'll help you recognize it before it passes you by. Because destiny doesn't always knock loudly. Sometimes, it whispers. Before we go deeper, I want you to take a breath and listen inwardly. Ask yourself, why did I really click on this video? What has my soul been silently asking for? Let me take a moment to thank you sincerely for showing up today, not just for this channel, but for yourself. Every comment you leave, every like, every subscription, it's not just algorithmic. It's energetic. You're becoming part of a growing circle of Libras and seekers who are choosing to listen deeper, rise higher, and step into alignment with their true wealth. Your presence here keeps this channel, Zodiac Whisper Tarot, alive with purpose, and I want you to know how deeply that matters to me. Now, if you've felt that strange nudge lately, like something invisible is organizing your next steps, you're absolutely right. This is the beginning of something. And what we're about to uncover together may surprise you, affirm you, and challenge you all in the best way. So don't go anywhere. Stay with me to the very end, because by then, you may no longer feel like the same version of yourself who clicked play. And Libras, tell me in the comments, what has been quietly shifting in your financial life lately? What signs or nudges have you been receiving? Comment down below to claim your energetic alignment, and to anchor this breakthrough into your reality. You're not just watching this. You're becoming this. Let's begin. Imagine walking through your day, doing your best, staying present, managing responsibilities, showing up, but still feeling like something is missing. That faint tug in your chest? It's not confusion. It's the soul sensing alignment just over the horizon. Right now, Libra, something in the stars is no longer just shifting, it's orchestrating. The kind of movement that doesn't just happen to you, but through you. Mercury, the planet of intellect and strategic thinking, is currently in alignment with Venus, your ruling planet, the sovereign of value, beauty, and attraction. But this isn't just a poetic pairing. This is activation. When these two energies meet in your second house, the space of personal resources and earned income, your entire energetic field becomes a magnet for financial opportunity. Not just money, but meaningful abundance, the kind that mirrors your values, not your fears. This energetic moment is what I often call a window, and in this case, a gold-framed window of divine timing. What you do when that window opens matters. The universe is always moving, yes, but every now and then it pauses just enough for you to step through with clarity. This is that kind of pause. And it's not about forcing anything. It's about being open enough to recognize what's already unfolding. So many people wait for miracles to arrive fully formed. But in truth, most breakthroughs come in whispers through a new idea, a random encounter, or a gentle shift in how you perceive yourself. Financial breakthroughs are no different. They often start not with winning the lottery, but with remembering your worth. With seeing the value in something you've been ignoring, a skill, a connection, a decision you've postponed out of fear. This is why Mercury's influence is so important here. It's not loud. It's intelligent. Subtle. Quiet enough to be missed, but powerful enough to change everything once understood. Venus brings the sweetness, the reward, the beauty. But Mercury opens the door. Together, they are co-creating the moment when the yes you've been waiting for finally arrives. And here's where emotional honesty becomes essential. If you've been working hard and not seeing results, that isn't failure. It's momentum without outcome. It's spiritual muscle building. And when the energy is right, when the planets sync, when your soul is in readiness, what used to take years could happen in a month. Or even in a single conversation. Now, I'm not promising miracles in the way we often romanticize them. But I do believe in what I've seen: lives shift in quiet ways that turn out to be massive once they play out. A closed door that led to a detour, which led to a divine appointment. A delay that felt like rejection, but later turned out to be protection. A conversation overheard at a cafe that opened a business opportunity. You know the stories. You've probably lived one or two. There's a truth I often return to in my work: you don't have to chase what's aligned for you. But you do have to be ready to receive it. Just like the farmers of old who didn't control the rain but still tilled the soil, planted the seed, and watched the skies with quiet expectancy, you are doing the same now. You are preparing the field for what's next. In the quiet spaces of your life, Libra, can you sense that something is rearranging on your behalf? That the timing you once thought was off is now finally right? I'll leave you with this thought as we move deeper into your reading. Breakthroughs often come disguised as ordinary days. Will you be open enough to see the door when it cracks open? And if you're feeling that pull right now, that quiet, unexplainable readiness, tell me in the comments. Let the energy move beyond just watching. Speak it. Anchor it. Declare it: I'm ready to step through the door. Because once you do, nothing will ever quite feel the same again. Sometimes, the most significant shifts in our lives don't begin with fireworks. They begin with a person, a conversation, a connection, a presence that feels oddly familiar even if they're a stranger. For you, dear Libra, this next chapter may be unlocked not by a solo breakthrough, but through a meeting, a collaboration, or a union that changes how you see your financial potential and how it sees you back. When we speak of fated encounters in astrology, we're often talking about those moments when external timing matches internal readiness. And as we look deeper into your chart this season, with Venus in your second house and Mercury activating clarity, we see more than just promising alignments. We see a gravitational pull. One that may draw in a mentor, a business partner, an investor, or even a deeply insightful friend who, without knowing it, says exactly what your soul has been waiting to hear. In energy reading, this moment resonates with what we call the handshake archetype, a symbolic agreement between two energies destined to meet. The tarot card bearing this image represents not only contracts and formal deals, but a spiritual agreement made long before the encounter ever happens. You may not recognize it at first. In fact, it may come in the form of a challenge, or through someone you least expect. But the energetic signature is unmistakable. This person will hold a missing key, and their arrival will feel less like rescue and more like divine confirmation that you are, in fact, ready to walk through a door you've only dared peek through before. Let's be clear, this isn't about being saved. You are not someone waiting to be rescued. You're someone who has already done the inner work, often in silence. What's happening now is that the universe is echoing your readiness by sending you a mirror in human form to reflect your own dormant wealth potential back to you. And in this reflection, you'll recognize opportunities that once felt distant, even impossible. In the practical world, this could look like a chance to collaborate on a project you've been dreaming of. It could be someone recommending you for a job or investment, or even a quiet comment that sparks an entirely new direction for your income. These are the quiet ways the cosmos weaves miracles, not always with loud voices or flashing signs, but with whispers that become undeniable once your heart is tuned in. And yes, while we won't attribute this to divine intervention directly, it's worth considering how in many of life's stories, those random connections, the teacher, the stranger, the long-lost friends, show up just when we're about to give up. Whether you believe that's coincidence or something more, the effect is the same. We are reminded that we are never building our dreams alone. Sometimes, God doesn't send angels with wings. Sometimes, He sends people who sit across from you at coffee shops, or call at just the right moment. This is why staying open is essential. You don't need to chase anything. You don't need to control how the opportunity arrives. What you do need is clarity and the willingness to say yes when the right invitation shows up. That's what turns alignment into action, and action into transformation. So take a quiet breath right now and check in with yourself. Are you available for the miracle that wears human skin? Are you truly ready to be met where you are, not because you begged for help, but because you finally allowed it? Tell me in the comments, who are you hoping to meet next on your journey? A collaborator? A guide? A soul who sees your vision before it fully exists? Speak it into being. Your comment isn't just a message, it's a declaration. And declarations, dear Libra, have a way of opening doors. Have you ever called something stability, only to later realize it was actually a slow and subtle surrender of your spirit? For many Libras, this is a quiet truth. Because you value harmony so deeply in your relationships, your environment, your choices, you often prioritize peace over progress. And while that instinct has kept you safe, it may have also kept you small. What once looked like security may now feel like stagnation. And your soul is starting to notice. This is the part of the journey where reflection becomes the bridge to breakthrough. When we talk about balance in the astrological language of Libra, we're not simply talking about maintaining equilibrium for the sake of appearances. True balance, real inner harmony, requires motion. It requires movement between trust and action, rest and risk. If you've been clinging to something just because it's familiar, but it no longer inspires you, this may be your moment to ask, is this comfort or is this limitation? The universe doesn't knock down doors. It whispers. And right now, it may be whispering that the version of safety you've accepted has quietly been dimming your financial growth. This is not a judgment, it's a loving invitation. To look at where you've been hesitating. To question the systems you've built around your money, your worth, your future. Who are you still supporting out of guilt, not alignment? What opportunities have you put off because they scared you or because they didn't come wrapped in the perfect packaging? And perhaps more importantly, are you still defining your value by the outdated metrics that once felt necessary but no longer reflect who you've become? Libras are ruled by Venus, the planet of love, beauty, and value. But the shadow side of this influence is the temptation to keep the peace at any cost, even when that cost is your own evolution. This month's energy doesn't want you to break everything. It's simply asking you to rearrange what no longer fits. The goal isn't chaos. The goal is clarity. And sometimes clarity means being honest about the illusions of balance you've been carrying just to avoid discomfort. It's time to redefine what abundance means to you. Maybe it's not just about the income or the investments. Maybe it's about releasing the fear of success, the fear of being seen, the fear of outgrowing certain relationships or roles. There's nothing wrong with wanting steadiness, but if that steadiness requires you to shrink, silence, or suppress your true desires, it's not really balance. It's self-abandonment disguised as peace. If you've been feeling anxious around money, or unsure about your next step, that's not a sign to freeze. It's a sign to reorganize. Think of your financial life the way you'd think of a closet. Sometimes it's not about throwing everything out, it's about sorting through what still serves you and what silently weighs you down. You don't need to solve everything today. But you do need to be brave enough to look. Start with a simple question. What part of my financial world feels light and alive, and what part feels forced and heavy? From there, clarity begins. And from clarity, action becomes easier. Not impulsive action, but aligned, intentional decisions that lead you towards something that feels not just abundant, but truthful. As we move deeper into this unfolding, remember, the most powerful changes often begin with quiet shifts. A budget revised. A conversation delayed, now finally spoken. A limiting belief, gently let go. Take your time, but take your truth with you. Let your definition of wealth evolve as you do, not just as a number, but as a reflection of how boldly you're willing to live. There are moments in life when the door we're waiting for won't open, not because it's locked, but because something or someone is still standing in its place. It's easy to assume that delays mean denial, or that what hasn't arrived simply wasn't meant for us. But more often than not, Libra, it's the space that hasn't been cleared. And this month, you may begin to notice that certain energies, people, or structures quietly begin to exit your life. Not as punishment, not as chaos, but as preparation. In astrology, we often see this play out during transits that trigger the 8th house or when a planetary square demands change. But in your case, this energy isn't loud, it's subtle and sacred. It whispers that something has outlived its purpose. A role. A relationship. A mindset. And though it may have served you beautifully before, its time is up, not because you failed, but because you've grown beyond it. The universe doesn't remove lightly. What leaves your life at this time is making room for something far more aligned. This isn't just about loss. It's about divine reordering. You may not yet see what's coming next, but what's leaving now is creating a pathway for your finances, your peace, your purpose to realign in a way that finally feels right. Think of it like a garden. If the soil is filled with old roots, weeds, or plants that no longer bear fruit, there's no space for new life to take hold. You could try to plant on top of it, force something new into the old, but it won't thrive. Clearing the soil may feel uncomfortable, even painful, but it is an act of faith. It is the declaration that you believe something beautiful can and will grow again. There are seasons in life where subtraction becomes sacred. Where the empty chair, the silent phone, the sudden shift becomes the beginning of expansion. You may find that a job you thought was stable suddenly feels misaligned. That a connection begins to drift without explanation. That your own beliefs about money or success begin to crumble, leaving you unsure of what to hold on to. And yet something is being freed. Financial breakthroughs are often preceded by energetic release. That's not just mystical thinking, it's emotional intelligence. When we're bound to relationships or routines that drain us, even subtly, we unconsciously block the flow of support we deeply crave. When we hold on to beliefs like, "I'm only safe if I stay here," or "I'll only succeed if they approve," we close ourselves off to alternate routes the universe is ready to open. You don't have to force this release. Life will guide it. But you do have to be willing to let go with compassion, with clarity, and with courage. Trust that what's leaving now has completed its assignment. Trust that by releasing it, you are making room not just for money, but for ease, for clarity, and for something deeply yours. In everyday life, we often see this wisdom reflected not just in astrology, but in the rhythm of nature, the healing of therapy, or even the silent strength found in moments of surrender. Just as a tree must shed its leaves before winter, you, too, are allowed to release what is no longer nourishing. And in doing so, you send a message to the universe not of loss, but of readiness. So as you sit with these shifts, ask yourself gently, what is leaving my life not as rejection, but as redirection? What have I been holding on to that no longer mirrors the person I am becoming? The clarity may not come all at once. But the space it creates? That space is holy. That space is where the new can finally enter. Let it. And watch how life begins to move not away from you, but toward you. There comes a point in every growth journey when clarity turns into direction, and direction into decision. Libra, if you felt that something is calling you to step out from behind the scenes and into a more visible, purpose-driven path, this may be that moment. With everything that's been shifting, releasing, and rearranging in your energetic field, what remains now is choice. Not just what you're letting go of, but what you're choosing to build next. You were never meant to hide your gifts in the name of modesty or wait for the perfect invitation. Venus, your planetary ruler, doesn't just ask you to create beauty, she asks you to offer it. And this month, her influence is weaving powerfully with Mercury's clarity and the energy of the 2nd and 10th houses, areas of finances, values, and legacy. That is no small message. You are being asked not only to receive, but to participate. To co-create. To plant seeds that will grow into income streams, soul-centered success, and long-term impact. For many Libras, that next step may take the form of entrepreneurship, particularly in spaces that blend intuition and artistry with service and heart. Whether it's launching a digital course, creating a line of spiritual tools, offering intuitive coaching, starting a beauty or wellness service, or building a mindful brand online, the most important thing isn't scale or perfection. It's resonance. It's starting with what reflects your inner alignment, and allowing it to take form, however humble, in the outer world. Astrologically, you're entering a time of high receptivity to online visibility, soul client attraction, and financial reward through channels that allow you to teach, share, guide, or create. Libra's air element loves systems that flow and ideas that circulate, which is exactly why digital platforms can be such a powerful vehicle for you. The online space, when approached with clarity and authenticity, becomes less about hustle and more about harmony. It becomes an ecosystem where your gifts become solutions, and your stories become bridges. Even energetically, certain colors and symbols are working in your favor right now. The soft pink-silver shimmer associated with Venus activates your intuitive financial center, helping you discern not just where the money is, but where the meaningful money is. And in numerology, the number 6, which governs harmony, family, and community service, often shows up when financial abundance is meant to flow through your service to others. Not in sacrifice, but in soul alignment. That's why the most important thing you can do right now is begin. Don't wait for clarity to be perfect, because clarity often comes after action. Don't wait for your idea to look like someone else's, it's supposed to look like yours. Pick one product, one message, one offering that reflects your spirit and meets a need. Not someday. This week. This season. Because someone out there is waiting for you, not just the idea of you. The truth is, we are rarely given guarantees before we leap. But we are given nudges, intuitive sparks, aligned timing, opportunities that quietly align. And when we respond to them, we become the miracle someone else was praying for. So I'll ask you this, Libra: what's the message, product, service, or gift that's been living in your spirit, quietly asking for form? What's the offering that feels scary, but true? Take a deep breath, tune into that answer, and if you feel safe to do so, share it in the comments. Your idea might be the one someone else is searching for right now. Start small. Start honestly. Start now. You don't need a perfect plan. You just need a real one. And the rest will meet you along the way. As we close this sacred space together, Libra, I want you to take a quiet breath, not just to reflect on the insights you've received, but to gently remember who you are becoming through them. This journey you're on, it's not about chasing money or success as if they're somewhere far outside of you. It's about remembering that everything you seek is already moving toward you, as you align your life, your energy, and your choices with who you're truly meant to be. So let's bring it all together. This month carries a whisper of divine timing. Someone significant is coming into your orbit, not to fix you, but to unlock a new dimension of your abundance. At the same time, something old is naturally falling away, a habit, a belief, a relationship, or a circumstance that has finished its role in your life. These two truths meet in the present moment, where your next aligned action waits for your courage to say yes. Maybe it's launching a new idea. Maybe it's having a conversation you've avoided. Maybe it's simply choosing to believe that you are worthy of receiving more. The truth is, you don't have to hustle to prove yourself. You don't need to beg the universe to bless you. You only need to allow what's already yours to arrive by making room, by getting clear, and by trusting what you know in your spirit to be true. You see, financial freedom isn't just a destination. It's a process of awakening. And awakening is not about striving, it's about remembering. Remembering your value. Your voice. Your vision. So I ask you now, what is one thing you're ready to let go of, to make space for what's coming? What is one truth you've been avoiding that needs to be honored? What small action can you take today that aligns with the version of yourself who is no longer waiting, but actively building a life of meaning and wealth? Let this video not be something you only watch but something you become. Take what you've heard today and bring it to life, even in the smallest ways. Open that notebook. Send that message. Speak the dream out loud. Clarity doesn't demand perfection, it simply asks for presence and participation. And as you begin, know that I'm cheering you on every step of the way. From my heart to yours, thank you for showing up not just here on this channel, but for your own growth. Your presence matters. Every like, every comment, every subscription you offer here on Zodiac Whisper Tarot is not just digital interaction, it is a soul print, a ripple of energy that allows this community to grow and reach others who are ready to rise beside you. So if something inside you stirred today, if you feel the shift already humming beneath the surface, I invite you to declare it now. Leave a comment below and tell me, what are you doing next to move closer to financial freedom? What step are you claiming as your own? And if you feel ready, truly ready, say it out loud and anchor it in the comments. I am ready to receive. I am ready to rise. I am ready to step into the life that's already waiting for me. Because you don't have to chase abundance, Libra, you only have to become the one who receives it. And you're already so much closer than you think.